So you remember the Endure guy?
Yes.
If there's someone that's very, very young and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive. Even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
It is. Go on.
if it would happen, what would you recommend for those people? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive?
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the
People
relationship?
are just.
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just.
For anyone
Situation.
that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
Do you think
endure.
so?
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give up
I'll tell you
divorce?
Endure.
what. It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do.
What about if two people get married, they
Trace.
have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely. Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Or
children.
cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
I think I'm not going to
no,
say this
divorce-
is worse. or
divorce
that. I
is
mean,
worse
I-
for the
I
children.
already-
Yeah.
So he's going around explaining what he meant.
3 days later.
But I did say if there was one instance, because relationships, every relationship has fights. Every relationship has ups and downs. Anybody who says otherwise is a liar. Okay? There's conflict in relationships. Period. Even the happiest couples in the world, they have conflict. And anybody who denies that, like I said, they're lying.
I think you just substituted or slipped something in there very slickly as if it made so your argument. Nobody said there aren't conflicts in relationship.
That's not what's up.
Nobody said there aren't fights in a relationship. What people said is just because those things exist doesn't mean you put your hands on your partner during one,
Even once.
even once.
I don't want a traumatized woman in my life. I don't want any history of trauma. I've dealt with those kind of fucking nutbags, and I don't ever want to deal with it ever again. I want to deal with a normal, mentally stable, healthy woman. So,
You think you're normal? Exactly.
in what sense?
Well, do you think you have healthy habits?
Yeah,
You do?
yeah.
Some motherfuckers must really hate you because after the last video, I just got people sending me everything. What did you say?
I punched a Latina bitch in the face at Rakon. What's Rakon?
It's a club in Japan. He lives over there. He was talking shit to some guy. I guess people just linking the group chats. He was talking shit to some guy, and the guy said to him, well, at least I've never been arrested for glassing a bitch. And he's like, yo, why are you so sensitive? Are you going to leave next? So that's the MLD saying, like, why are you so sensitive? Why are you bringing that up? And the guy says, I'm not sensitive, just giving back some. And then MLD says, you act like that's the last bitch I'll smite on this planet.
Well, do you think you have healthy habits?
Yeah.
I think it's very bizarre that someone accuses or says that you bottled a woman in the face, and your response is, that didn't happen. Your response is, are you being sensitive right now? Why are you bringing this up? Then it makes me really think you did do that shit. Also, how would you kill this bitch for being so disgusting? Personally, I think a good old-fashioned bludgeoning is the way to go. Big old monkey wrench to the head. And then he posts her picture in the group chat.
I don't want a traumatized woman in my life.
Time to beat Aya. I'm gonna beat Aya for not being pretty enough. Have to beat Aya for letting this happen.
And I want to deal with a normal, mentally stable, healthy woman.
I will glass a bitch with a champagne bottle for the honor of the group. If this happens, I'll have so much fucking money. I'm gonna glass like 17 bitches. Now, mind you, everything here I've been sent screen recordings for, so none of it is like edited photo. So this is him contacting somebody else about the incident in Japan. He goes, and you can see the video as he's scrolling. He says, hey, sorry to bother you about this. This guy attacked an innocent girl in Roppongi, and the police found him. I heard he did something to you. Is that true? And the woman in question, who's Japanese, she goes, yes, true. What him make for the girl? Which I think is her broken English. Yeah, I know he's a real scumbag. Is it true that he punched you in your face? And she says, yes. What happened with the other girl? And he says, are you sure it's definitely this guy? To which she replies, yes. And so a couple other people from Japan contacted me and said that this guy was charged for bottling a woman in the face after she rejected him at a club. This went to court. He settled out of court. The woman has a scar across her face. She didn't want to come forward and bring this up, nor does she want to be involved because she's been traumatized by the experience since.
Enough.
And people send me messages to people that know her and people know of the incident, and all these are real. I made sure they sent me videos to show me they didn't fake no fucking DMs.
And that was like a club in Japan?
Yeah, and he's also being charged for somebody else in Japan. So why am I bringing all this up? Listen, group chats are your business. Personally, I've never been in a group chat where folks brag about punching women in the face or take joy in talking about how they want to kill somebody that they saw on Bumble because they're ugly, okay? But when this guy is getting on podcasts talking about he wants a well-adjusted, normal woman who's not traumatized, I'm like, brother, do you hear yourself? Do you see the stuff that you be writing? And then you want to be on a podcast telling women like, yo, listen, if you get hit once or more, endure. This is the person telling you to endure.
I told you was putting some olive oil and some garlic. You were about to cook.
He's like, what am I reading, bro?
Yo, look at the flick of the wrist. Look at the flick of the... Yo.
Again, maybe that's how you guys talk in your group chats. Maybe I'm unaware because I only spend my time in 2 group chats. And it must be PG-13 compared to some other people. I don't know. So you guys let me know in the comments. Is this normal for your group? Because if it is, then maybe I need to take all this shit back. What? Is it? I don't know. That's why I'm actually asking. I really don't know.
I do not know.
But considering he's been charged, he's being charged again. He's got enough cases against him. A lot of these dudes in these spaces want to always claim they're not anti-woman. But every time you peer behind the curtain, every time you look into it, every time you find out who they really are when the cameras aren't on, it just don't sound good. I mean, it don't sound good on camera, but it sounds even worse behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. Nobody online's perfect, nobody online, but anybody who's trying to convince you to stay in a situation probably doesn't have your best interest in mind. And I'll also say this, a lot of people from the last video we did on this topic were saying, oh, you took these guys out of context. Go play the full clip. Go play the full clip. You know, a lot of these guys want to sit on a podcast, and the moment some woman says something radical like, I love to fleece men, they're quick. They get off their fucking seat to put her in her place. You want to rob men of their money through divorce? That's absolutely. And you should be calling these women out. Yeah. But then the dude sits beside you and says you should endure getting beaten by your husband or beaten by your wife in a marriage. And all of a sudden, these same people get real quiet. They don't got much to say.
They don't get quiet. They just say that, hey, no, man, you took him out of context. Yeah. Listen, nah, keep the same energy.
Or they'd be like, I don't know what to say. I wouldn't know how to advise somebody. I wouldn't know. Well, what if a woman cheats on her husband? Divorce. All of a sudden, you got plenty of prescriptions, right? You think people can't work through some infidelity, but you think that people should stick around through physical beatings? I don't know. It's just bizarre to me when I hear some of this stuff. So sometimes it's not even what's said. Sometimes what's not said. Sometimes it's the change in your energy. You loud and proud when it comes to shaming single moms and all this other stuff. But we talk about folks beating on women or beating on dudes. All of a sudden, you don't keep that same energy. That's when you look sus. Keep that same energy for everything else. If you care as much as you claim. That's all I'm saying.
Keep going in the relationship.
Keep going. You can't divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too...
You want to stick in the relationship.
People are just...
look,
people
I'm
nowadays are just...
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do.
What about if
3 days later?
Because I guess what they're trying to say is like if a man is continuously beating a woman in a relationship. They're talking about
physical abuse, yeah.
Right. So they're trying to say that I'm saying that if a man is continuously beating a woman in a relationship, that he and
she
her should stay and endure the thing. That's not what I said at all. But I did say if there was one instance, because
you didn't say that at all. And we could play the tape back.
Play it.
I think sometimes people get on podcasts and start talking. And there's what they say in their head or what they think and feel, and then what they actually say outwardly. Okay? I think he's just doing some damage control now, because I think he thinks his take is better, where it's like, if you get hit once, then, you can work things out. I'll be honest with you. I think once is too many times. Personal. Thoughts?
Go on. You cooking right now.
Things can get heated. Words can be said. You can maybe even punch a wall. When you put your hands on the other person, you cross and this is man or woman, if a woman starts hitting you, I don't even feel that different.
God damn, did you put garlic in there?
Why is that?
You cooking.
Okay. I don't feel it's that different. I think that's a very strong line you're crossing. And most of us who've never put our hands on a partner, okay, will know that's not a line I've been in a lot of arguments. Punching my girls never come up. But maybe I don't have the experience, so that's why I'm turning to you.
No. As a matter of fact, that's something that I told her when we was kids, and I told her, never scream at me. If you need some time to reflect, to calm your spirits down because of something that I did, please do so. If I ask you, is there something wrong? And I see there's something wrong, don't tell me, no, there's nothing. Tell me I want to talk about it now, and we'll talk about it later. So we can calm ourselves down. Because once the screaming, the insult, we're not insulting people. That's me. Some of y'all motherfuckers roll like that. I don't even roll like that with my friends. Like, I will not insult you, even insult you. Some shit that he's gonna do that's gonna piss me off, or some shit I'm gonna do that's gonna piss me off, that's gonna piss him off. I don't assume that it comes from a place of malice, or else we have a bigger problem. You understand what I'm saying? All that to say, the screaming, the calling names, those are steps before the hitting. You don't go from this to, no, listen what I'm to a hit. Shit escalated. That's just me. And I said that when I was 16 to my girl. Maybe it's because of what I saw, what I saw and what I was raised with my parents. They had arguments. And at some point I remember that it was start to yell a bit much, but I was so not used to that I got downstairs and I was like, yo, like, are you guys separating and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. And they were like, they realized, and they said, no, we're just talking, but it's okay, we're good. Went back upstairs and they understood that they had to lower the thing a bit because, okay, now there's all that to say. Maybe it's because of how I was raised. And yes, that's a privilege. But the screaming, the name calling, even before it hit, that's a no. That's a no. Don't call me names because I will say stuff that I will not regret. And once you pass and once you say certain things, it's hard for me to turn back. The punching, one time? No, because there's other steps that was crossed before that.
Anything else you want to say?
Nah, bro.
All right, let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
That's a cook. Dinner's ready.
But isn't that what?
It's super wild.
When I was reading that shit, I was like, bro, am I bugging? This shit weird, right?
It's weird. It's weird. You look super sus. But not only that, like you said, is the charging after that as well. So you show disregard in your comment in your locker room talk. Yeah. But then you got disregard for women and being charged for disregard for women. No. So it's like, it's not just one incident. It's not just one thing. Yeah. It's the repeated behavior that happens, and you're like, you start to connect the dot. You're like, that's fucking weird. Yeah. You're a weirdo. If it was just one thing where you just say some stupid shit once, that would be one thing.
I'll be honest with you. If people leave my group chats, you would be super disappointed. I think I need to get a little bit more problematic just to keep up.
We're good.
Because I ain't see. I mean, we're good. I need to step my game up because this shit trash.
No, there's no game. Keep it trash.
Okay.